Although this topic requires much more depth and time, we can still have a short discussion as to how success can proliferate in a given organization, country, culture, or creed. It goes without saying that success requires a multitude of factors. For example, in any certain industry you work or do business in, you want to have capable, smart people who know the technicalities of said industry. Experience is obviously an asset. Someone who both failed and succeeded has lessons that can be shared. Having people that have extensive networks and can tap into information sources that are reliable is also of utmost importance. What is underrated and probably overlooked more often than not at the expense of technical capabilities is character, trust, the basis of working with people that understand their roles and we understand ours. Getting rid of the notion that the other person is deserving of less because you got less, not taking into consideration different talent capabilities and workloads. There are queens and kings on the chessboard, and there are knights and pawns, and for good reason. The ideas and behaviors that actual trust fosters. Actual trust doesn't require written agreements, contracts, or clauses declaring contingencies to protect from risk. That just creates more friction that takes away time, resources, and energy from the real objective. You see, unsuccessful communities are usually low trust. Thomas Sowell, the economist, put it perfectly. The formal legal system is not the only aspect of law and order. The level of honesty, cooperation, and civic virtue among the people is not only of social, but economic consequence. Like, for example, Malagasy people who are indigenous to the island of Madagascar have their grain traders carry out inspection of each lot of grain in person because of a lack of trust in their employees. About a third of the traders say they do not hire more workers due to fear of theft by them. Think of the consequences. Limits firm sizes and scale, reducing potential profits by inordinate amounts, leading to lower success and economic growth, all because of a lack of trust. Radius of trust is a term used by economist William Easterly. This radius of trust differs greatly from group to group and nation to nation. It plays a huge role in economic success. Transactions that involve large sums of money among high group trust societies like the Hasidic Jews in New York involved in the diamond industry, the Chinese in Southeast Asia, or the Marwaris of India usually take place with little to none formal written agreements or ties to the judicial system. A huge competitive advantage compared to other groups who can't safely engage in similar low-cost methods of doing business. There are countries like Japan where in Tokyo bicycles can be left unattended only to remain safe. Same thing in Dubai where you can leave large sums of cash or jewelry out in public and come back to it in the same condition you left it. In other countries like the US and Canada, doing so would be nonsensical. The basis of high trust group societies is that they think about the collective. When looking back at history, there are or has been periods of times in many countries where societal trust was at high levels, leading to prosperity, high quality of life, and increased birth rates. What creates high trust societies? There's a couple of factors, notably shared hardship, which leads to shared identity, credible institutions, upward mobility that is attainable and within grasp, rising living standards, and cultural reinforcement. A good example of this was the post-war era. After World War II, countries globally like the US, UK, Canada, the Nordics had a sense of unity that was unrivaled to prior and current times in the 19th 20th and 21st century. This led to economic expansion, trust in institutions, group harmony, and less polarization. The converse is true as well. An erosion of trust happens when there is increased inequality and wealth disparity, loss of credibility with institutions, increased polarization, and upward mobility seems out of grasp for most people. Think about all the ways we can foster our own high trust communities. It starts from us, the individual, to the household, then to society at large. Leading with action and holding ourselves accountable first and foremost. Standing firm with what we know and believe to be morally good, even if it may be the unpopular opinion at the time. Showing respect and kindness to those deserving of it, no matter their skin, creed, or language. These ideas or ways of life aren't a breakthrough or innovative. However, they do unfortunately become abnormalities in societies where distrust is the norm. As Napoleon once said, a genius is the man who can do the average thing when everyone else around him is losing his mind. Thanks for listening.